Okay, so nothing's canceling, so there are no holes. So my vertical asymptotes are where the denominator equals 0, -3 and 1, my function blows up. My horizontal, the degree of the bottom is squared. That's bigger than the degree of the top to the first, so I just have y equals 0. Check. I want to see if it ever crosses my horizontal asymptote. So I want to see if my function x minus 2 over x plus 3, if that y value ever equals the y value that I got in my horizontal asymptote. Cross multiply, so the bottom ends up kind of wiping out. X minus 2 equals 0, and hey, look, it will cross when x is 2. Okay, great. And so now we'll grab an grab the y-intercept first. Y-intercept, when the x is 0, the y will be 0 minus 2 over 0 plus 3 times 0 minus 1 is -2 over -3, so 2/3. And then the x-intercept, when the y is 0, you want to know this is the y, so when this equals 0, so 0 will equal x minus 2 over x plus 3 times x minus 1. And so when you cross multiply, the denominator kind of ends up wiping itself out, and hey, x equals 2 again. So it crosses at the intercept is where it crosses the horizontal. That's okay. So we plot what we've got. So we've got a vertical asymptote at -3, another one at 1, a horizontal at 0, and I'll cross when x is 2. My y-intercept was 0 and 2/3. My x-intercept is 2. So now when I go to graph this, because I know this is the only place it's going to cross this horizontal asymptote, I checked, I'm safe to say that I'm up here for this part of my graph, because this point was up there, and I know I've got to eventually get to these vertical asymptotes. Now, these vertical asymptotes both came from odd powers, odd multiplicities there. So they're going to alternate signs. So if it starts off going to positive infinity on this side of the asymptote, on the other side of the asymptote, it's going to go down to negative infinity. Alternating signs, just like we did in those inequalities back with the polynomial and rational inequalities. Check those out. These graphs will make much more sense then. We don't want to toss all that info out the window. So it'll change signs, so I'm going down to negative infinity on this side, coming up to cross through, and again, because this x minus 2 came from an odd multiplicity, it will cross through, it won't bounce back down, cross through, and then come back to hug that horizontal asymptote. Phew! So now we know what it's doing on this side, for this side, but what about on this side, right? What about for those x's? Well, again, since it's on this side, going to positive infinity on this side of the asymptote on the right, then on the left side of the asymptote it'll be going to negative infinity. So now we go there. Whew! If that -3 had been squared, it would have stayed up here and been one of those numbers. There you go.